So this is one thing I've got a few times with personal branding is we built the personal brand of a guy once in recruitment, and he had loads to say, loads of interesting points, very opinionated, right? And we built this up, and he was and this was a guy who was to build a recruiter up is difficult because fucking everybody hates recruiters, right? Yeah. Built this guy's personal brand up. This guy's going, and I know it's not all about going viral, but he's going viral, once a week. Most of his posts are hitting big numbers. He's getting a shit ton of leads through, a lot of jobs on, and business is going well. But just one week, he just stopped it dead, cancelled it, disappeared offline. And to be fair, I haven't seen him since or talked to him much, and just said, I'm cancelling the service. I can't deal with it. I can't deal with it mentally. I can't deal with the shit I'm getting online. And I can't deal with the amount of people basically giving him grief. And that's the other thing that I think people don't realise is if you're going to do this and you're going to build a personal brand, it's not going to be all hunky-dory. You're going to get dickheads online because guess what? Everyone's behind the keyboard, right? And I don't know whether that's ever happened to you guys when you've been doing people's personal brands, but that was the first time I've ever done it. And this guy could not cope because I knew it wasn't even that bad what he was getting. Nowhere near what we get online, mate. But it's
exactly. But I would say we're better equipped to deal with that because we've done this slowly over a number of years. So it hasn't been if you go from 0 to 100, it was you've literally had your first social media job, then 3 months later you're being wheeled out as the face of whatever it is that you want to be the face of.
Yeah.
I think you're not really battle hardened or ready to deal with the influx. And I would say there's been some posts recently, the last couple of weeks or so, where people have done a post. They've not got the engagement they'd usually get from their little engagement pod, or they get all the nice, great content, babe, great content on whatever. Once it goes outside of there, they can't cope with what happens next.
Yeah.
And then it's like they go into victim mentality. Then it's like, I'm being a victim here. When it's like, but that's real life. Not everyone's going to agree with everything you say.
Yeah.
And the bigger you build that personal brand, the further it is from your really true, authentic self. Yeah. I think that's when it gets even more harder to deal with, and that's where anxiety and depression all that creeps in, because you're so worried now that someone's going to taint this image of yourself that's been very carefully stage managed, and you've deliberately followed a process, and you know that you need to show some vulnerability on a Thursday at 11 o'clock because that's when it gets the most engagement and whatever. Do it listicle now because that's popular. It's like so convoluted and formulaic that I think that's why they struggle with it, and I think they're not ready for it. I think
probably, but you don't think it's a certain type of person as well? Because I've never given a shit. But is it? Do you think? Do you think it's just a certain type of person who can handle that? Because I think we can handle it, and we can handle a joke sometimes. But it's never really bothered me. Even from the start, whenever I get shit, I just enjoy winding them up more.
Well, even your missus said I put weight on, Dan, after the last video, and you don't see me like whinging about that online. You want me to bring that up in a video a week later. So, but do you know what I mean? But I know some people, their heads will fall off if that happened to them. Do you know what I mean? Like they'd be like, I'm not doing this. I'm being trolled and being bullied.
Yeah.
Someone's just at the piss, mate.
Yeah.
It's not a big thing. Or it's great content for the post about the post, which is.
Do you guys prepare your clients for stuff like that?
Yeah. So I had a client who did exactly what you just mentioned with your client. He had a really big viral post, over 100,000 reactions, like 10 million views. And at first it was like really positive, and then suddenly, in one day, I think he must have hit a certain audience, which was really, really negative. It was like really brutal, but not just kind of attacking the sentiment of the post, but then going on his old content and commenting stuff, going on his website and sending queries to his team and stuff. And for him, who never done personal branding before, it was like massively overwhelming. And I think for me as well, as someone who was offering the service, that was a realization moment. Like, actually, I need to consider this more in my service, because I don't think at the moment there's enough of that. Like training, how do you prepare people for what you're exposing them to? So he took a little break from LinkedIn for that reason, and I think, it's not for everybody. And there was another client who nearly came on with me, and I was like, actually, I don't think this is going to work for you because you're massively introverted. You don't want to share any aspect of yourself online. Therefore, you should probably be building a company brand on a company brand page and not a personal brand. So I do think it's made for particular people. And then on the opposite, as you were saying, Mike, with what tends to happen that I've noticed is like a lot of young creators kind of play the victimhood game, where, a post didn't do well, I got a few negative comments. I'm a victim now. You're not a victim. Someone's disagreed with you, and that's like the real world. You've got to accept that. If you're willing to put content out there, knowing it's provocative, then you've got to accept that other people might engage in a way that they might disagree with you. And then creating content around your content just creates this like cycle effect where you're actually talking about nothing of value to anybody. You're just kind of spiraling in your own like
you're
self-indulgence.
creating an echo chamber, aren't you? And I think that's probably the most dangerous thing there.
Yeah.
And I think in their own minds, I mean, we all are, right? So we're all the hero in our own story, but you're either the hero or the victim. You can never go, oh, do you know what? Like, fair enough, I did come across a bit of a prick there.
But that's all it is. I honestly think that's what it's all about, is just owning it. I mean, I've done some pretty stupid shit in my time, but I've just, I decided early on that if it ever comes out, when I'm a big CEO and offended, worth billions, ever comes out, I just own it. Yeah, that was my penis. Yeah,
self-awareness at the end of the day. If you're putting yourself out there, you've got to be self-aware.
A lot of these huge personal brands, like you say, some of the people who sell it online, they have these huge personal brands, and they've got a huge percentage of their target audience in another country who aren't interested in the services they're selling and are just liking it because of the sake of it. And it is vanity metrics. And as a business owner who's selling something very specific to a niche audience, you don't necessarily want that.
Well, I've seen a lot of these influencers and people with big personal brands using engagement pods, even now in 2022.
Yeah, I mean, that's just fucking stupid. Like, that is an echo chamber.
It's such a weird thing to actually want to do, because what you're doing is, for a number of reasons. Number one, you're not even finding out what your actual target audience wants and how your content actually lands with your real target audience that want to buy from you, because your first 200, 300 comments and likes are from people that have forced to like your stuff. Yeah. So how can you ever improve your content if you're not getting real world feedback? If you do a post and it flops, you go, shit.
It was shit.
Do a post like this. But if you go, you've done a post and it's actually wank, but it's got still 500, 600 likes in there from all the other gimps that are in your lem pod. Then you're not going to know that that content's wank. You think, oh, it's still got 1,000. See what I mean?
Well, we say the same thing with paid content as well. So I always say to people, put it out to your audience, right? If it doesn't do well, because a lot of people go, oh, I've designed this infographic and it's flopped. Why has it flopped? It was fucking mint. I don't get it. I thought it was fucking mint. So what they then do is then put paid behind it to try and send it to more people who also think it's shit, right? That's what happens, right? And what we say is test it. You test messaging organically. If you get a high percent of your target audience liking it, then there's a good chance that if you did that as an ad campaign and put it out to more of your target audience, put some spend behind it, it'll probably do well. It's a good test. The only fucking metric that ever matters when it comes to branding, content, anything, is whether or not your target audience like it.
Yeah.
Whether they react to it, whether it causes them to do something, whether it brings you in the results you're after. If it doesn't matter how good you fucking think it is, it's shit.
Do you get people that just say to you, I just want to go viral? I can imagine that's quite a common thing, eh?
I think a lot of people do talk about going viral. I think even a lot of the time, even if they say, oh, it's not about the numbers or whatever, there is this like back of the mind, like, I do want to go viral, basically. It's really hard to escape that trap. And, in a way, though, a lot of social media is a numbers game. Like, you have a small conversion rate. And so if you touch 1 million people compared to 100 people, the chances, just looking at the numbers, is that the 1 million will convert better. And so, you have, in a way, got to, appreciate that, even if it's super targeted, super valuable, sometimes you need the numbers there in order to get that conversion.
Oh, you need some numbers, because this is the other argument as well. Is that if there's a lot of these people who are incapable of getting big numbers, who go, it's not about the numbers, they're just vanity metrics. No, you just can't fucking get them. You know what I mean? That's all it is. But the differentiator is getting more engagement from the right people. So if obviously I'd rather have 1,000 likes off my target audience than 10, because I'm going to get better results off that. I mean, that, but people miss that. They miss that, and they go viral for the sake of going viral, and they still only have those 10 likes off the target audience, and they have fucking 990 off a lot of other randomers.
Thanks for watching the Views My Own podcast. If this is your first time here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your comments below. And also, we've got an online community that helps you improve your marketing, get better at sales, and make your business a little less shit. Click the link in the description.